Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. Boy, settle down. Mr. Big is back again to help me do this live. Oh my goodness, he is a big oaf, aren't you? How is everybody? Let me know if you're watching or if you're watching with the dog. Today, come on, do you want to get off? Come on, good boy. There we go. Today we are talking about natural remedies and how well they work, or if they work, and where they're, how many there are. There's a ton of them. There's so many different types of natural remedies, and we'll run through some of them. I can't watching with Loki reacting to your pup. I know he is a brat. I'm just going to just jump onto Facebook because I can't see who's commenting. If I am, Paula, right? That's a great name, Loki. Hang on, wait, just let me. Oh, here comes another dog. Come on, then, you can come up. This is Chase. Oh my goodness, I'm very popular today, apparently. Hang on, just bear with me. I'm just going to open up the Facebook page so I can see who's chatting. Kathleen is watching. Sorry, Kathleen. It's really hard for me to tell because I'm in StreamYard, which is a type of software, and I can't see who's commenting in StreamYard, so I have to keep jumping into Facebook to see who's commenting. So hello, Kathleen. Alrighty, so this is Chase. She's mum to Mr. Big and Bertha, and she's a very good girl. She's 8, so she's much more sensible than the other two. The other two aren't sensible at all. Alrighty, so we're going to talk about natural remedies, but before I get to that, I do want to tell you that last week, actually not this week, I'm a bit behind the times, I did publish a podcast episode with Stacey from Focus Fund Dogs for Tales from the Doghouse, Separation Anxiety Explained. You can find it on YouTube, or you can find it in all good listening apps. So we're on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Audible, Amazon, etc., etc., etc. So this one we did dog shaming. That was the topic. So dog shaming in sort of like, for example, you come home and your dog has destroyed something, and who is turning around and saying, people turn around and say things like, oh, your dog is trying to get back at you for leaving them alone. So there's a lot of sort of fingers pointed at dogs that have separation anxiety. We talked about people and how they say some silly things in regards to, you spoil a dog and all that. But this episode is all about what they say about dogs. So, the dog's getting back at you for leaving them, stuff like that. So it's a good episode. So if you can, have a listen to that. Way too much technology. Yes, it is. You should see my tabs across the desktop. Way too much. So let's talk about some of the natural remedies there are. I can't cover them all because there's so many, but let's start with thunder shirts. If you don't know what a thunder shirt is, it's like a jacket that kind of hugs your dog really, really tightly, and it's supposed to be comforting. I think it's like kind of like a puts pressure on your dogs. Often used for thunder, but you could use it for separation anxiety. Does it work? I would say that if I asked in the group if it worked, most people would say it didn't. It has to be introduced the right way, of course, and it possibly could work in the case of thunder, but we're not here to talk about thunder. And even then, it really just does depend. And you have to have them really tight, because if they're not tight enough, they're not going to work. In a really hot environment, I don't think it would be that nice to put on a dog, to be honest. My dog, Mr. Big's got one. I've never put it on him. I didn't buy it. His former owners had it for him, but they said it didn't work. So, okay. So thunder shirts could work. and this is going to be a theme that's going to run throughout this, is it might work for your dog or it might not. So it depends on the dog. And that's the same for prescribed medication as well. So does it, any prescribed medication given to a dog, it might work for some dogs, and if it doesn't, then you have to remove it and start again with a different type of medication. So it really is the same for natural remedies. And it also depends, like, so if you've got a dog that has really, really severe separation anxiety, is completely panicked, has a complete meltdown when you leave, they may not be as the natural remedies might not work on them as well as a dog that's got a mild case. So we have to keep that in mind. If your dog's got a mild case and not so bad, then some of these natural remedies might have more efficacy. So Thundershirts, Adaptil, so these are often collars, Adaptil collars, or they can plug into the wall, or you can spray them around. Rather expensive, and most dog guardians will say they didn't have much luck with them. Some dog guardians will say they had some luck with them. Has anyone tried Adaptil? Can let me know, or let me know if you're watching the replay. But it's a pheromone that's supposed to be calming for your dog. So I've used it for cats. It's called Fellaway for cats. Cats that are a bit stressed for whatever reason. Did I see any results? I wouldn't necessarily say so. Hard to tell. Then you've got your herbal supplements. Patty here, VB recommends. VB recommends what? Adaptil? Yeah, they do. They definitely do. And have you used it, Patty? And if so, did it work? Do you feel like you got any results from it? I'd be interested to know. Herbal supplements, so but no results. Yeah. Yep. And it's one that the vets do go to. They sell them though, so they're making money out of them. And they're not cheap, I don't think. So herbal supplements could be tablets or capsules that you can buy that might have some sort of herbs in them. Now, there's lots of herbs that can help with separation anxiety. The thing with herbs, it's a little bit like medication. They have to build up in the system. So whether it's something like skullcap, devil's claw, ashwagandha, these are all valerian. So not Valium, but valerian. It's a natural herb. Sounds a bit like Valium. And that, all those ones kind of work on calming the dog down in different ways. But you need to use them for quite some time to get a result. And then again, if the dog is like a total meltdown, total panic, a really severe case, I'm not 100% sure that they would be useful. Again, depends on the dog. So herbal supplements, and you can buy calming tablets and all those sort of things. I bet a few of you have tried the whole calming tablet thing that you can buy. The natural ones that you can buy in the pet food shop or order online. And they've got, they're supposed to calm the dogs down. Anyone tried anything like that, and did they work? I did a poll in the group. Let me just find that poll. Probably can't find it now. That'll be the way, wouldn't it? Here we go. So this is really interesting, this poll, actually. So 20% of you had tried Adaptil. Not many people said, here we go. So 20% had tried Adaptil or pheromones. 19%, so just on 20%, had tried CBD oil, which was over the counter and includes chews. We'll get back to the CBD oil because that's quite a big discussion. 16% had tried calming tablets. 27% had tried music, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. 6% aromatherapy, herbs, 8%. And 1%, which I imagine is one person, has tried CBD oil from the vet, which was vet prescribed. Patty said she has tried CBD chews, I love what you said, Patty, actually. Tried CBD chews because I was tired of people asking if I tried it. Tried Adaptable Diffuser because I knew it was part of the VB protocol. Yep. So I wanted to be able to say you've tried it. Started playing the calming CD from day one because I wanted her to have a positive association with it and not have it to be a leaving cue. Yes, we're going to talk about that too. Not sure if it had any effect on Skippy, but it calms you down. Well, perfect. Yeah. Peaceful Playground by Pet Music. Okay. A gift to my first dog, Max, because he developed separation anxiety. It did not work for Max. Interesting. Diane says Adaptable Thundish Coat, RSPCA calming spray, UCalm. I'm not sure how to say this. Anxitan, something like that. Pooch and Mutt Calm and Relaxed Foods. She is still on the food and the Anxitan. I'm sorry, I'm probably ballsing up that name. But nothing really helps. Also tried white noise, washing machine and lawnmower noise, TV and radio in the same or different room, classical music, calming music for dogs, videos on YouTube, different rooms, whole house, curtains open, curtains shut. Wow. Yeah. Valerie says in Belgium they're not allowed to use CBD oil. So that's just completely out of the question anyway. And she also says, I do not want my dog to get stoned, and we will talk about that. Kathleen says she had no adequate response from anything that she tried. And Lynn says she's tried ashwagandha. Now, ashwagandha is a herb that is supposed to help. And there, like I said, there's other ones, devil claws, skullcap, valerian. She said she did. I asked her if she had any success, and she said she's only started it. So again, remember I said it can take a while to build up in the system, like medication. And it's like if you had like sore joints or something and you were going to take turmeric or golden paste, it's not going to work once. You have to let it get into your system and try it for 3-4 weeks, whatever it is for your body. So same with herbs. Lynn says he definitely seemed calmer, and she's monitoring the dosage, and dosage is something that we do have to monitor. What is the right dose for a dog depends on the dog and the size of not just the size of the dog though, but not just the size of the dog, but also the dog's metabolism system, etc., etc., etc. So we've talked about aromatherapy. In aromatherapy, we could be talking about lavender, or I know the Dog Anxiety Summit I haven't seen it yet, haven't watched it, so just let you know that. But the Dog Anxiety Summit that I was a guest speaker on, they had a lady talking about aromatherapy for dogs and flower essences. So I think you could still buy that. I don't know that you can now watch it for free. So if you wanted to, the whole summit is about anxiety. But there's myself and another lady talking about separation anxiety. We don't necessarily talk about the same methods of resolving it, but she does then go on to talk about flower essences and aromatherapy. So she obviously feels that it works, and she sells products. So, I mean, if you're interested, if you want to try it, by all means. I'm not poo-pooing natural remedies either, just so you know. I think it's worth a shot. It's worth trying. It just depends on your dog, how severe the case is, and, if it does have an effect. I mean, it's the same with us. Like if you were going to listen to some calming music, for some people that would be really calming, and for other people it might have no effect at all. So everybody's different. Then you've got the whole homeopathic stuff and music. So music, Patty's done it the right way. So you want to build the association with the music first. So you don't want to be putting the music on and walking out the door. That's the same as giving the Kong and walking out the door. The Kong is associated with you leaving, and then it can poison the Kong. So you don't want to put music on and walk out the door. You want to play the music, nice dog calming music. Lisa Spector, I'm a fan of Lisa Spector. There's a podcast. If you jump on my website and go to the podcast tab and look up the episode we did with Lisa Spector. So she, if anybody knows, she was the creator of Music Through the Dog's Ear. She sold that company, and she's got a new one now called My Zen Pet. So she provides music for dogs with anxiety. She's a great lady. And she says you have to build that association first with the music. So you would be playing it while you were there, first of all. Patty here. Interestingly, some chemo drugs are made from natural sources like vincrispine from oh my God, I don't even know it. Oh, from the yew tree. Okay. Vincristine from vinca. I have never heard of that. I'm sorry. Taxans from the yew tree, etc. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. The thing is, if you know anything about drugs, they all came from plants originally. That's where medicine started. It started in the plant world back in the days of Aristotle. Because I've researched all this. So herbal medicine was the precursor to prescribed medication. Hang on. When you say calming tablets, what is an example of what is in them? Yeah, they're all different. They're all different. So it's really hard for me to answer that, Roxanne. They all have, some of them have valerian mint. I know that for a fact, and maybe some turmeric. But yeah, there's so many different products. It's crazy. And that's half the problem too. Not a problem, but as a pet parent, you're like, well, should I try this one or that one? This one's got this in, but this one's got that one. Which one's going to work for my dog? It's confusing. So, it's trial and error, really. How do you know where to start with all these options? Yeah, exactly. So Kathleen, we'll get to that. But I want to talk about, so we've talked about music, but just just a quick, so you want to build the association first before you introduce it to your training, and you would probably start the music like an hour before you walked out the door, you were doing some training. Yeah, overwhelming, yeah. So that's really important to do that. So you don't want to just put it on and walk out the door. You want the dog to, when they hear that music, they're like, oh, this is our calm time. Every time I hear this music, we're just like chilled out and relaxed. And then you can start gradually introducing it to your training. Yeah. How do you know where to start? And very overwhelming. It is overwhelming, Roxanne. Yeah. The thing with any of these herbal medicines is you kind of have to try them. And again, I'm going to keep saying this because I really want to drive the point home. How bad is your dog's separation? Is it a case of they've just never learned to be by themselves because they're COVID puppies, and it's just a case of a kind of almost a training issue? Or is it really a case of they are having a complete panic attack, complete meltdown when you walk out the door? And they're the more severe cases, the ones that soil and they just you can tell the difference. And those dogs, they might be better candidates for prescribed medication, or some of these things might work, but you don't know until you try them. You don't know anything until you try it. Same with, does my dog do better in a crate or outside of a crate? You don't really know until you try it. So let's talk about CBD. So a lot of you have tried the herbal or the kind of the over-the-counter CBD. There's so many products out there. So again, overwhelming. Which is a good product? I think if you're going to give it to your dog, you're better off to go to a vet that understands CBD. They're CBD vets, in other words, because they know what's in it. So all these companies that are selling online stuff, I'm pretty sure they don't really know what's in it. And I'm generalizing, of course. I'm sure they're not all like that, but I would say many of them do not know what's in their product. So they might have too much THC. THC is the thing that gets your dog stoned, gets them high. And I'm assuming that is why they're banned, CBD's banned in Belgium, which Valerie said, because I imagine there's probably too much THC, or they don't know what the THC content is. I know some dog guardians that don't care if there's THC in there. They're like, oh, well, it chills my dog out. So, but I have also heard a bit of a horror story. Some guy on Clubhouse. I don't go on Clubhouse anymore, by the way, because I didn't really like some of the things I heard. put it that way. And this was one of them. So this guy gives his dog CBD. Now, I'm not sure how he was giving it to his dog. I don't know if he was literally using marijuana and putting it in the dog's food, like the herb. I don't know if he was using some sort of tincture or what. And I'm not 100% sure why he was giving it to the dog. I don't know that it was for anxiety. It might have been arthritis or something like that. But he was like, oh, yeah, well, if I give him too much and he gets stoned, and I can tell he's really sick, we just put him in a quiet place somewhere and let him go. And I'm like, how can you do that to your dog? It's just, his dog is having a really bad time, like had ingested too much THC. And he's just like, oh, yeah, we'll just, find him somewhere quiet and wait. He has to ride it out, basically. I don't think that's very nice. I really don't. If somebody wants to smoke marijuana, that's their choice and they know exactly what they're doing. But for a dog to be given something that makes them high, I think that is wrong. Sorry. I know not everybody agrees with me. Obviously, this guy wouldn't agree with me, but I don't think that's fair. My dog, the one behind me in the corner there, you might not be able to see her. See her there? She's a little bit crazy, and we have cane toads over here in Australia, and you don't want your dog to lick a cane toad because they've got like this poison on the back that on their back as to ward off predators, obviously, and it makes them high if they lick them. And she was younger, like she hopefully she won't ever do it again, but she licked a cane toad before I could stop her. And she was in a bad way. It was horrible. And you're supposed to kind of get a hose in their mouth and wash it out, but you can't. Well, she is crazy anyway. And she wouldn't let me kind of wash her mouth out. So you want to get water in there to wash it out without them ingesting it and making it worse. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. She was just. So then, of course, she had a really bad time. It was awful. It really was awful. She was on the couch with us, and she was just not herself. She honestly looked like she was high. She was high. I've got an even worse story than that. I don't know if you guys want to hear it. It's not related to natural remedies, though, so it's a really bad story, actually. I laugh about it now, but at the time it was very, very stressful. But yeah, let me know if you can have a little vote and let me know if you want to hear it or not. So where were we? Oh, CBD. CBD. So you do? Who said that? Let me have a look. Roxanne. All right, hang on. Let me finish the. Oh, all right then. All right. Okay. Okay. So I was down at the park where I go. It's a football field, and this is when we were living in our old house, and the dogs were off leash, all three of them, and running around and having a good time. The thing with this area, I'd been going there for years, like, I don't know, 11, 12 years with dogs all through that time. And later, sort of the last few years, there'd been like some bad elements there. Like there was a homeless guy found dead behind a shed. There was homeless guys living in these bunkers where people can sit to watch the games when the games are on. They were living there like that. There was 4 bunkers, and at one point there was a bloke in every bunker, like, which is, there was a housing crisis, blah, 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 but they were obviously drug takers. Then they never came back. And then the next year, it was usually in the summer, this guy started living in one of the bunkers, and it really peeved me off. I was like, I wish he'd go and move up the field into another bunker, because it was right in front of the tree, which had the shade for the dogs in the summer. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, at about 6:30 every morning, his drug dealer would ride up on a bicycle. They'd sit together for about 10, 15 minutes. And I don't think the bicycle guy, the drug dealer, was taking the drugs, but his client obviously was. And yeah, he would start smoking ice. It was definitely ice, and then start dancing around and screaming, and I'd be like, oh my God. Anyway, he wasn't there this day. There she is. Look at her, the little rat bag. Can you see her? Miss Innocent. She's not innocent. This dog, right? This dog. So there was no one there this day, right? And that we were on the field, and then she kind of trotted off to, there was this like a building there with where they store equipment, sports equipment and stuff. And she was kind of like hanging out there a bit too much, and I could see her going, and I'm like, oh, what's she doing? So I went running over there, leave it. And it turns out that there was poo there that she was eating, basically. There was poo. And because of the way it was squirted up the side of the wall of this building, I was pretty sure it was probably human poo. And yeah, she had eaten some of it. And yeah, so anyway, I loaded them all in the car, went home, didn't really think too much of it, except, ooh, yuck, how disgusting. Anyway, next minute, she is off her base. Her eyes were like, oh, she was wobbling around like this. I'm like, oh my God, has she been bitten by a tick? Is there something else going on? And then I started thinking, hang on a minute. Let's join some dots here. The excrement, took her to the vets. I was so lucky to get into the vets because I was ringing around my normal vets. Oh no, we've booked out, blah, 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 blah. Finally got into one, took her in there, and they did they do a blood test? I think they did a blood test to check her liver. But basically he said she's off her face. She has ingested something, and it was whatever the drug taker had pooped out in his excrement. She had then gone and eaten it. And I can laugh about it now, but it was not funny. And so basically all that happened was he said, oh, she'll just have to ride it out. Basically, he didn't want to give her anything. Yeah, it was horrible. It's not funny. It's not funny. It was horrible. But I can laugh about it now because it is just nasty. I know. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it was like a couple of, and look at her, like little Miss Innocent there, curled up in a ball. Yeah. Dirty dog. Anyway, back to CBD oil. Oh, there's another one too. I'll be really interested to know if any of you have tried this. Have you tried tapping? So apparently obviously you've probably heard of Tellington touch, where it's like a circular touch. So you kind of go do-do, and it's supposed to be calming for the dog. But there's another one called tapping, and I think people tap their heads. Like I think they use it for PSD people maybe, and it's supposed to be calming. So you tap the dog. I don't know much about it. I'd be interested to know if any of you have tried it. But yeah, so let me know. And yes, back to the CBD. So you've seen people tapping when they're walking. Yeah, right. Are they doing that? CBD. So if you're going to get CBD, when you're getting it from a company online or whatever, I would be wanting to know, is it full spectrum? Because I think that's the stuff you really, really need. Oh, you've tried it? Okay. It made him want to play. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine it would. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you want to play with me? So company CBDs, I think you need to go full spectrum or fully spectrum. There's actually a CBD company called Fully Spectrum. But then I would want to know what's your THC content, because my understanding is, and I could be wrong, but my understanding is that THC is present in all CBD oil. It's just the amount. So it could be 0.01%, which you would think is probably not a concern, or it could be more. So you would want to know what the THC content is. You would want to know how much to give your dog, and you would want to know obviously the CBD content as well, and if it's full spectrum. And this is why if you're going to go down that route, I would prefer you went to a vet, a CBD vet, who knows what they're giving your dog. They know exactly what's in it, if it's got all the good stuff in it that your dog needs and how much THC is in it. And they know the dose as well. And they know that we could start with X dose, and if that's not appropriate, we could, give the dog more depending. But then it's done safely. So I really, really, really want CBD to work. It's kind of still the new kid on the block in terms of anxiety for dogs. I don't feel like there's enough studies in it. I would like there to be more studies in it for dogs, robust ones, not, here's 10 dogs that we looked, blah, blah, blah. But I would like there to be more really robust studies with lots of dogs. And the other thing is, I don't know, you guys probably may or may not have ever heard of this, but there's something called the caregiver's placebo effect. And what that means is, let's not talk about anxiety for the moment, but if you've got, let's say you've got an older dog and it's got arthritis, and you think, right, I'm going to go and get rosehip oil, or I'm going to go and get turmeric golden paste, or whatever it is. I'm going to buy this special food, a special expensive food that is good for dogs with arthritis. And you want it to work, right? So maybe you see that it works, even though it's your vision of it not necessarily working. So I didn't say that very well, but what I'm trying to say is that it's possible that it's not really having an effect. It's called the caregiver's placebo effect. In other words, you want it to work, so you see it working. So there is that to consider as well. And that is the same for, did that calming chew work for my dog, or is it because I want to see that it worked? And that's not to say that it's not working. I'm just telling you that it exists. It's a thing. And so we do have to be mindful of that as well. So I think we've kind of covered everything. Hope I've answered everybody's questions. Kathleen, I know you were curious about the CBD, the dosage. Again, that's why I would be going to a vet. So they know exactly what's in it, so they know how much to give your dog. Whereas if you're buying something, I feel like if you're buying a CBD chew, I don't know, how good is it? How good is it? What's in there? That's the problem. Yeah, that's just not knowing. Big question mark. And again, with any herbal natural remedy, with any normal prescribed medication, you have to trial it for your dog and see if it works. Oh, you don't think CBD can be prescribed by vets in the US? There's definitely CBD vets here, Roxanne, in Australia. So I would be surprised. That does not seem right, but especially because I know in some of you, like in a lot of your states, medical marijuana is quite common, isn't it? I know for humans, but yeah, it would be worth Googling, maybe doing some research or asking your vet and saying, hey, what's go? But yeah, definitely can in Australia. Anybody else got any questions? Anything we haven't talked about that you want to discuss? What's this? I got chews recommended as safe by holistic vets, but they did nothing. Yeah, the guy behind the RX vitamins for dogs. I don't know what RX vitamins for dogs is. Patty. And we have Kathleen says, okay, we have very few holistic vets around. Yeah. Most do not know about CBD. Really? Due to it being still a controversial topic. Yeah. Every state is different as, yeah. But Kathleen, aren't you in California? I thought California would be quite relaxed compared to some of the other states. Yeah. And look, so marijuana is illegal here in Australia. But medical marijuana is gaining traction now. And I know I know vets that do prescribe it, not I have not personally. I've heard of vets that prescribe it, and I also know obviously some doctors are prescribing it for humans. So not for vets. What's that? Not for vets. Okay. Not for vets. Yeah. There's not enough studies. It's so frustrating. The studies need to be robust, and that's why I brought up the caregiver placebo effect, because some studies look at they're looking at the mom and dad of the dog to determine if it's having effect or not, whatever the thing is, whatever the product is. So it's subjective. It's not objective. If I'm looking at my dog saying, yeah, I think it works, and giving that to the vets, or no, to the researchers, it's just not, it's not scientific enough for me. You know, it's not really giving us data. It's just giving us a subjective viewpoint, unless there's a huge difference, and then you can actually see it. But if we're looking at, if we're relying on the dog guardians to give us the data, I don't think that's a robust enough study. That's what I mean. Yeah. And I take it CA is California. Not being in America, I don't know. Yes, in CA, California. So Kathleen, yeah, I think that is part of the issue for vets, liability with no science to fall back on. Yeah, exactly. There's just not enough evidence yet. So let's say yet, yeah. So yes. All right. So guys, I am going to be running another challenge / boot camp to masterclass at the end of the month. My group coaching starts in October for anybody that might be interested. So that will be, there's going to be an 8-module online course, 1 video review a week. There will be group coaching and some one-to-one calls, 911 calls, and a bunch of other stuff. But really, if you're curious, maybe join the masterclass. And what's this YouTube thing? I don't know. What is that? I can't see it here. It's not coming up. I can't push on it in here, unfortunately. What's that YouTube? What was I going to say? Yeah, so the masterclass, so the boot camp will be kind of identifying if your dog has got separation anxiety, which you guys, most of you probably think your dog does. Some of you might be unsure. And the masterclass will be the one I just ran, the same one. So the 4-step blueprint to decoding your dog's, or to start decoding your dog's separation anxiety, and also the 3 biggest mistakes that dog guardians make. He's the guy that makes the CBD chews. Yeah. So, I mean, what's in there? Do we know? Okay. Yeah, but see, this is the thing. Recommended by holistic vets in the US. So it's like an average vet recommending Hill Science diet for your dog, or Adaptor collars for your dog. There's a reason they're recommending it. It could be just that this guy is in their face, like, you guys need to look at this. This is a good product. How much, for me, vets recommend a lot of things because the developers of the thing, whether it's a food or a medication, is because they're told to, and they don't examine it properly. So just because a vet recommends it, always, do your own research, I guess, is something that would be pretty good idea. Cool. All right. Anything else? The product developer is a vet, but I am sure he is marketing heavily. Exactly. Marketing is everything for these people. That's how Hill Science Diet, I don't know if that's the big one in your vets over there, but there's a Hill Science Diet here in Australia. They sponsor the vet schools. So the vets go to school learning that Hill Science Diet is the food that they should they should sell. Isn't that crazy? I think it's crazy. Yeah, Hill's crap diet. Yeah, who said that? Yeah. So I feed raw. I feed raw food. And I've had vets go, oh, you shouldn't be feeding raw. And I'm like, have you done your bloody research? Because I have. I'm a nutritionist. I'm a dog nutritionist. I've done my research, and they don't. It's the same with yearly blood tests, or not blood tests, yearly injections for parvo and et cetera. My dogs get teeter tested. I get my vet to take blood from them and test the blood and see if they need it. Not anti-vaxxer by any way, shape or form, but if my dogs don't need it because they've already got the antibodies in their system, I'm not going to stick more in their system. But the vets will be like, oh no, you must. And in fact, the Australian Veterinary Association here says, no, you only need to do it 3 years. And there's still vets here that will say, no, you must be doing it every year because they want the money. What's all this? Yeah, seems biased, Kathleen. Yeah, but that is the way big corporations work. Yep. BB says too high in protein. Yep. And Kathleen says, how do you learn to feed raw? I'm so intimidated. That is not hard to do, Kathleen. So you can, what's this one? You can ask for teeters for all the back stuff. Yeah, well, okay, so rabies is, we don't get rabies here, so I can't comment on rabies, but certainly for parvo and distemper, you can test for antibodies. And I think you guys might call it titer. I think you can call it teeter or titer test. Kathleen, if you wanted to feed raw, I would start with a pre-packaged food, a good quality one. So one that's got everything in it first before you try to do it on your own. But there's, if you want to shoot me an email, I can email you. They're just JPEGs that I've got off the net, but it tells you what you should put in the food. And so you have to have, a certain amount of bone, a certain amount of offal, a certain amount of meat, blah, 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 blah. And it gives you a rundown. There's 4 different ones. They're all pretty much the same. But yeah, just email me as a reminder and I can send them to you. Cool. All right. Thank you for the teeter info. Yeah, teeter, titer. No worries. All righty, guys, take care. Next week, I want to ask you guys, is there anything in particular you want to talk about? I was thinking about talking about cameras and the importance, but I'm open to other stuff if you want to talk about something else. But this has been a good conversation. I'm glad you guys turned up, and I hope I've covered everything for you. And I'm sorry about my dog stories. Let me know. Come on. I'm sure some of you have got something you would like to talk about. Cameras, yeah? Okay. I can't talk about specific cameras, but I can talk about why we need to use them. Yeah, and some cheap options. Alrighty, I shall see you again soon. Have a great evening, afternoon, morning, whatever. See ya.